The main ones we're going to be working with is the pretty much just the HighSlide folder itself. These examples here are just their own demos that they put on a page for you to look at, and it references their images there, and then the index HTML just shows you even more. They actually include the code and show you how everything works in there. So if you need any more explanation, or if you just want to look a little further into what all it can do, you can open up that index.html and take a look. Okay, as for the required files to make this work, if you want to include this in your website, the main thing you're going to need is the graphics folder, which is inside the HighSlide folder. All of this information here is inside that HighSlide folder. So it includes the graphics folder, the HighSlide full.js, the HighSlide with gallery.js. Now those are both, you can use both or either or. If you're going to include the gallery functionality, which is having either the horizontal like film strip, if you want to view your images that way, then you're going to want that HighSlide with gallery JS. But the HighSlide full also contains pretty much all of their packaged assets. But I had an issue where the gallery wasn't working quite right, and when I looked for answers, they said to include the HighSlide with gallery. So this gallery.js file might include some things that aren't included in the full JavaScript file. So just put this in there anyway, and then you want the HighSlide, your cascading style sheet for this. Alright, so going to setting up your scripts and style sheets to make this all work here. Up in our head section on our index.html here, you see I have a bunch of stuff in there. I have Modernizer. Right below that, the HighSlide with gallery. This one right here, this script text that deals with the graphics directory, I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So I'll go ahead and skip that for now. And then the style sheets here, I decided to overlay my the images that I'm using for my example demo in Bootstrap. Bootstrap was able to line everything up nice, and so I just decided to put that in as well. I have normalized, style, and then the HighSlide CSS, and then my own style sheet. Okay, here's what I wanted to talk about here. When I first was running the demo on this, I was getting a loading. When I would click the image, instead of expanding the view screen out, when you clicked on the image to go from the thumbnail to the full preview, or the full view of it, it was giving me a loading button that would pop up, and it would stay loading. I actually waited on this for a while, and after nothing happened for about 10 minutes, I decided to look into it, and it is an error. This plugin doesn't initially reference, it doesn't know where to reference its own graphics directory, is where it gets all of its, pulls a lot of functionality from, and so you have to put this in the script up here, and all you're doing is pointing the plugin in the right direction as to where it needs to go, and you're just CSS, HighSlide, graphics. As I showed in a couple slides earlier in the CSS, you can just throw that whole HighSlide folder that you unzipped when you downloaded it. You can throw that whole HighSlide folder into your CSS, and then you can reference it here with this script, and then everything should work out alright, and you won't get that infinite loading button that sits there forever. Alright, at the bottom of the page here, the bottom of the body tag here, is the rest of the scripts that I set up. Just Bootstrap, Respond, and my main.js. This plugin does a lot of, like a lot of plugins, all the heavy lifting is done for you. Everything you need to run either the gallery or the thumbnail previews or any kind of image manipulation is in their JS, js.min that I showed at the top. And I included my own main.js file just if I wanted to change anything. Like I said, except for a couple of features in the CSS, this plugin is highly customizable, and you can change anything you want. There's timers that you can change, delays on like how long you want the picture to pop up, or if it's some kind of if it's a playing slideshow gallery, you can mess with the timers on how fast the images will scroll through when you play it, things of that sort. So I included my own JS file just in case I wanted to mess with things like that, and not alter their JS file that comes with the download. Alright, so here we are here. After we get all that set up here, now we go to manipulating the code to make this all work. And this is very easy. It's a very simple plugin to use. You can apply this to any media, whether it be an image, whether it be any kind of video format. What's it called? any major video form that you have in your HTML. The main thing what you need to do to start out is you're going to surround whatever media that you want to bring out with your anchor tag here. The anchor tag is what brings out, is what you're going to use to pretty much block off what you want to pop out. Now, in this example here, this is all I'm only surrounding one image that I want to use, or you can do this on individual images. Now, I'll get into later, when you work with the galleries and bigger items, not only are you going to surround each individual image in your gallery with this anchor tag, but you're also going to do some things to surround your entire block or your div, all of your content that you want to be included in your gallery or your slideshow. You're going to be surrounding that with that anchor tag as well. And then right here, as you'll notice, right after the you'll have a link here. Now, initially, what you want to do with this is when you go from, or when you're looking at images with this, what most people do is you'll have a small thumbnail version, and then you'll go up to a larger version, and you'll have two versions of the same image file. Now, my image files in my example are pretty close to the same size. There's a difference, but this is to be used with smaller images. So what you'll have here, this link here is going to be to your full-size image here. So if you have an images folder, you can have one big image, and then you can label have a thumbnail folder where you'll keep like smaller versions of the image. And this one right here, this high-ref link here, is going to link to the full-size image. Now over here, when you have your source here, this is going to actually link to the thumbnail. And then right here you see this class attribute. This class HighSlide attribute is going to be required on any media that you want to use the plugin with. So any media that you want to use, you're going to have to include that class with it. And then after the class, you have your onClick function here. This onClick function is what makes this plugin work. When you click the photo, this is what expands it out into its own window and or brings up the slideshow or gallery, whichever you've chosen to use on your media. So this is real simple here. Like I said, the heavy lifting in the JS file is done for you. All this does is reference that and then brings it out. And all it does is just one click equals return HS expand this, and that is it. And then I have some other classes too that go along with Bootstrap, just trying to keep it responsive and keeping the images scaling nicely because I had to change sizes on this multiple times when I was viewing it. And then you have a title here that you can include so that you get a little pop-up message so that users who are clicking through your site, know to click on the image to expand it more if they want a better view. It's probably really especially useful on like a real estate site where people want to see, they're going through pictures of an apartment or a house or something, and they want, a more detailed look. They're trying to see how clean something is, things of that sort, where people want to see larger views of pictures, profile pictures, anything like that. And then at the end here, I have my source and then the image there. All right, this here is the slideshow setup. My slideshow here is the same 9 images that I used in my example for my thumbnail gallery. I took them and used them inside my gallery view here, and you can see here I pretty much listed all the images, all surrounded with anchor tags, and then the HighSlide onClick, and pretty much encased them all in a div so that HighSlide knows exactly what the gallery or slideshow is going to consist of, what images it's going to use. Now this plugin does have a default to where if you don't tell it what images that you want to use in your gallery, whatever images or media is on your page, it will include that in your slideshow or gallery. Like, it'll pull whatever you have. If you don't specify anything for it to use, it'll just pull whatever you have on your website, and it'll go through each image you have, each image or each video. So you can see here there's a little more to these here that I'll show in the next slide. The major difference between your markup for the thumbnails and this slideshow group, or the slideshow format, is this slideshow group here. And pretty much all this is after your this here, you're gonna put slideshow group, which is your whole in the JS file. That's all the media that you want to put together, grouped up together, and you label it this here is labeled as first group, and you can have a second, third, fourth group. You can as many groups of content. If it's related, you can have as many groups as you want, as long as it knows and identifies, which images go with which group, and it points to that. Then it'll pop them out. And let me I'll bring up my example here. Let's see. Alright, this is my example page here that I made. You can see here I have, these are my 9 pictures here. These are all royalty-free images. They're not my images, but they're all royalty-free off from Google search. And they're pretty close to the same size, but some are a little different. But this is the basic thumbnail view here. You can see it puts a border around each image, and it darkens it as you hover over it, and then when you click on the image, it expands it out into its own window there, and you can zoom in, zoom out, and just like here, so it's able to pop your content out. You can change, like I said, this thing is highly customizable. This white background in here, you can change the color of that. You can put a border on this. You can put a timer on how fast it comes out, how fast it retracts. You can change the size of the box if you want it to cover the whole screen, or if you just want it to be smaller. You can adjust the size of that. So there's a lot of customization. For such an easy plugin to use, there's a lot of customization that you can apply to this to make it fit, whatever your needs are. And then down here is my slideshow example. These images with Bootstrap, I put these so they would fill the page. And when you click on this here, you can see I had to scroll down a little bit. I'm not sure exactly why, but the controls are a little bit below where my image was at. You have your previous, play, next.